Hello, this is Peter Collins with another sales tip for the professional salesperson. Now, I want to spend a few minutes talking about cold calls. Yes, cold calls. Why? Because I, like many other sales professionals, dislike the term cold calls with a passion. It's a term that both sounds negative and sends shivers down the spine of many that chase down business prospects either face-to-face or over the telephone or even through social media. So what's the solution? Well, that too is simple. Simply don't call any prospecting call a cold call. Call it for what it is. It's a prospecting call. So call it a prospecting call. Now, let's get to the reason this podcast was made in the first place. Because it was simply made to explain why salespeople avoid cold calls and subsequently avoid rejection. But now if we rephrase this message and say most salespeople avoid prospecting calls because they take time and are considered hard work, and door-to-door and telephone prospecting may be hard work, but it seems much easier to the salesperson to prospect than to cold call, and cold call when seeking out prospective buyers. Then we have another issue here too. Again, the problem is between the ears and nowhere else. Why? Because the majority of mediocre sellers also have it in their mind that if they don't call on prospects, they'll never have to suffer being rejected. Yet rejection only becomes an issue when the seller takes rejection personally. On the other hand, high-achieving professional salespeople expect a high rejection level whenever they engage in prospecting for business. And what's more, they even don't mind if others call it cold calling for business. Why? Because their mind is already conditioned for the outcome. And that outcome is a workable lead, even after having to put up with a high rejection rate to get more leads. That's the reason they make more calls, and it's also the reason they generate more leads, more appointments, and more new business. So stop cold calling. Instead, start prospecting. Gather workable leads, appoint them, and then sell them. Why? Because it's the way the top 1% of sales super sellers work every day of their working lives.